Did you know that hidden within the pages of Scripture lies the most powerful business manual ever written? While modern entrepreneurs scramble through countless books searching for the secret to recession-proof success, the Bible has been revealing these principles for thousands of years. And what's shocking is that most business owners completely ignore them, even though these same strategies have sustained empires, built generational wealth, and protected families through every economic crisis in history. Today I'm going to unveil 7 recession-proof business rules straight from the Bible that have never failed. These aren't just ancient stories or spiritual platitudes. These are concrete principles that work whether you're facing inflation, market crashes, or complete economic collapse. Stay until the end, because the 7th rule might be the key that transforms your entire approach to business forever. But first, let me tell you why this matters more than ever before. We're living in unprecedented times. Supply chains are breaking down. Currencies are losing value. Entire industries are disappearing overnight. Traditional business models that worked for decades are suddenly obsolete. People who felt financially secure are watching their savings evaporate. And everyone is asking the same desperate question: how do I protect what I've built? The answer isn't found in the latest business trends or economic theories. It's found in timeless wisdom that has weathered every storm throughout human history. The Bible doesn't just teach us about faith and morality. It reveals economic principles so powerful that when applied correctly, they create businesses that don't just survive recessions, they thrive during them. Think about this for a moment. The biblical patriarchs lived through famines, wars, political upheavals, and complete societal collapses. Yet they didn't just survive, they prospered. They built wealth that lasted for generations. They created systems so resilient that their descendants inherited abundance even centuries later. How did they do it? They followed divine business principles that most people today have never even heard of. Rule number 1 is the principle of multiple streams. The Bible reveals this strategy long before any modern business guru ever thought of diversification. Scripture teaches us that wise stewards never depend on a single source of provision. They understand that putting all their resources in one basket is not faith, it's foolishness. When one stream dries up, they have others flowing. When one market collapses, they're positioned in different markets. This isn't just about spreading risk. It's about creating redundancy that ensures continuous flow, regardless of external circumstances. Most people build their entire financial life around one job, one skill, or one industry. They work hard, save diligently, and pray for the best. But when that single source gets disrupted, everything falls apart. Biblical wisdom teaches us to think differently. It shows us how to create multiple channels of income that complement and strengthen each other, not through scattered effort, but through strategic multiplication. Rule number 2 is the principle of controlled scarcity. This might surprise you, but the Bible teaches that artificial abundance often leads to real poverty. When everything is easily available, people lose the discipline that creates lasting wealth. Biblical businesses understand that controlled scarcity creates value, builds appreciation, and generates sustainable demand. They don't flood the market with their offerings. They release them strategically, creating anticipation and maintaining premium pricing. This principle works because it aligns with human psychology and divine design. When something is rare and valuable, people treasure it. When it's common and cheap, they take it for granted. Smart biblical entrepreneurs don't compete on price. They compete on value. They don't try to serve everyone. They serve the right people exceptionally well. Rule number 3 is the principle of seasonal awareness. Biblical business leaders understand that everything has its season. There are times to plant, times to harvest, times to save, and times to invest. They don't fight against natural cycles. They flow with them. They prepare during abundance for the lean times that will inevitably come. They invest during downturns when others are paralyzed by fear. This seasonal thinking protects them from the emotional decision-making that destroys most businesses. When markets are booming, they don't get intoxicated by easy profits. They remember that what goes up must come down. When markets crash, they don't panic and make desperate moves. They remember that after every winter comes spring. This long-term perspective allows them to make decisions based on wisdom rather than emotion. Rule number 4 is the principle of faithful stewardship in small things. The Bible teaches that those who are faithful with little will be trusted with much. This isn't just about money. It's about systems, relationships, reputation, and responsibility. Biblical entrepreneurs understand that excellence in small matters creates the foundation for handling larger opportunities. They don't despise humble beginnings. They don't cut corners because no one is watching. They build their character and competence through consistent excellence in everything they touch. This principle creates the internal strength necessary to handle the external pressures that come with business growth. If this message is resonating with you, I want you to know that what we've covered so far is just the beginning. I want you to take a moment and subscribe to this channel. We are committed to bringing you this kind of practical, biblical wisdom to transform your life. These 4 rules alone can revolutionize your approach to business, but there are 3 more principles that complete the framework. Rule number 5 is the principle of covenant relationships. In a world where business is often treated as purely transactional, biblical wisdom reveals something profound. The strongest businesses are built on covenant partnerships, not just contracts. These aren't casual agreements that can be broken when things get difficult. They're committed relationships built on mutual benefit, shared values, and long-term vision. Biblical entrepreneurs understand that your network determines your net worth, but more importantly, the depth of your relationships determines the stability of your success. They don't just collect contacts, they cultivate connections. They don't just make deals, they build alliances that last through good times and bad. When recession hits, and everyone else is scrambling for survival, covenant partners support each other. They share resources, refer opportunities, and stand together against external pressures. This principle transforms how you view competitors, customers, suppliers, and employees. Instead of seeing them as obstacles to overcome or resources to exploit, you see them as potential covenant partners. You invest in their success because their prosperity contributes to your own stability. You create win-win scenarios that generate loyalty money simply cannot buy. Rule number 6 is the principle of seed and harvest thinking. The Bible teaches that whatever you sow, you will reap, but there's a deeper business application that most people miss. Biblical entrepreneurs understand that every action they take is planting seeds for future harvests. They're not just focused on immediate profits, they're cultivating long-term abundance through strategic sowing. This means they invest time in relationships that may not pay off for years. They develop skills that position them for future opportunities. They solve problems for people who can't afford to pay them today, but will remember their generosity tomorrow. They understand that reputation, goodwill, and expertise are seeds that compound over time into massive harvests. Most business owners get trapped in harvest-only thinking. They want immediate returns on every investment. They cut expenses that don't show instant results. They abandon strategies that don't pay off quickly. Biblical wisdom teaches patience and persistence. It shows us that the biggest harvests come from seeds planted long ago and tended faithfully through multiple seasons. This principle also governs how they treat their resources. They don't consume everything they earn. They set aside portions for future planting. They reinvest profits into expanding their capacity to serve. They understand that hoarding stops the flow while generous sowing multiplies it exponentially. Rule number 7 is the principle of divine alignment. This is the most powerful and least understood rule of all. Biblical businesses don't just follow human strategies. They seek divine guidance for their decisions. They understand that there's a spiritual dimension to commerce that determines ultimate success or failure. They align their purposes with eternal values, not just temporal profits. This doesn't mean they're naive or impractical. It means they recognize that sustainable success requires more than clever tactics and hard work. It requires wisdom that transcends human understanding. They pray before making major decisions. They seek counsel from wise advisors. They test their plans against biblical principles before implementing them. When businesses operate in divine alignment, they experience protection and provision that defies natural explanation. Doors open that should stay closed. Resources appear when they're desperately needed. Competitors become allies. Obstacles transform into opportunities. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. It's the natural result of operating according to the laws that govern true prosperity. Divine alignment also means they understand their role as stewards, not owners. Everything they build belongs ultimately to their creator. This perspective liberates them from the fear and greed that paralyzes so many entrepreneurs. They can take calculated risks because they trust that their source of provision is unlimited. They can be generous because they know that giving creates space for receiving. These 7 principles work together to create businesses that don't just survive recessions, they use them as opportunities for expansion. While others contract in fear, biblically aligned businesses advance with faith. While others compete for shrinking markets, they create new value that generates fresh demand. These 7 recession-proof principles have sustained businesses through every economic storm in history. They're not just theories or motivational concepts, they're battle-tested strategies that work because they align with the fundamental laws that govern true prosperity. While the world chases after the latest trends and quick fixes, these biblical rules provide the foundation for building something that lasts. The question isn't whether these principles work. The question is whether you'll have the wisdom to apply them. Most people will hear this message and do nothing. They'll go back to the same strategies that keep them vulnerable to every economic shift. But those who understand the power of divine business wisdom will begin implementing these rules immediately. If this message is speaking to you and you want ongoing guidance rooted in timeless biblical principles, subscribe to this channel. Everything we share here is designed to help you apply these truths in real life, not just hear them once and move on. Start where you are with what you have. You don't need perfect conditions or unlimited resources to begin. You need obedience to proven principles. Begin diversifying your income streams. Start building covenant relationships. Plant seeds for future harvests. Operate with seasonal awareness. Excel in small things. Create controlled scarcity. Most importantly, seek divine alignment for everything you build. If one of these principles stood out to you or challenged how you've been thinking about business, comment the word "ready" below. I read the comments, and it helps build a community of people who want to build with wisdom, not fear. Your business doesn't have to be another casualty of economic uncertainty. It can be a beacon of stability and prosperity that blesses not just you, but everyone connected to your vision. The same God who sustained his people through famines, wars, and collapses is ready to guide your enterprise through whatever storms lie ahead. The choice is yours. Will you build on sand or on the rock of eternal wisdom?